Season 2, Episode 4 of The Morning Show. Kill the Fatted Calf. Episode titles love a biblical reference, don't they? Just a reminder that this video is my review, it's me giving my thoughts and my opinions, but I also want to hear yours. This is a dive into the episode for those who've already seen it, and I can't give my opinions on what happened without spoilers. So like, subscribe, and join in the conversation. So in episode 4, there are two major topics that I want to cover, which I think are the elements that made this the best episode of the season so far. And they both take place against the backdrop of everyone wanting the job of the moderator at the Vegas debate. Everyone wants it. I bet Awful Claire from season 1 rang in asking for it. Everyone wants it except Alex, who is of course the only person that Corey wants to do it. The moderator job is the fatted calf of the episode, the prize meal for the prodigal star. The returning hero Alex needs to take the prize. She just doesn't really want to do it. Surprisingly, in this episode, Alex actually takes a bit of a back seat to two discussions of identity. The first being Bradley's sexual identity, that kiss from the last episode that felt both inevitable and like a distraction from Laura's probing questions has blossomed into a full-blown affair. Laura encourages Bradley to name her sexuality, but she rejects that. She hints at being sexually fluid but doesn't commit. In fact, she more directly calls herself straight. She says that is how the world sees her. But doesn't the majority of the world see everyone as straight? Until they don't. Bradley is caught in some level of denial. It's never explicitly stated if Bradley has had non-heterosexual sex before, but the feeling overall is that Laura may be her first. If that is the case, she felt rather confident going into it, and Laura does hint that she seems as if she's had some practice in the sheets with a lady before. I really enjoyed the conversation around Laura encouraging Bradley to come out. In fact, the whole conversation starts because Bradley refers to herself when she says that the network can't have two straight white women hosting the debate. But Laura sees an opportunity for Bradley's career. She begins by outlining her negative experiences as a closeted lesbian in the years before, and she finds it difficult to see Bradley refusing to take the path that she's trailblazed for her and other queer people like her. This is a great scene, but it does half ring empty when the conversation is being played out by two straight actresses. Imagine how much more powerful the scene might have been with an actual lesbian playing Laura. I really do like Juliana Margulies, and I was hooked on The Good Wife. But imagine if we'd had an actual trailblazer in this role, like Portia de Rossi or Cherry Jones. Yep, we have Holland Taylor in the boardroom, but that's not quite the same. She's not here. But she could have given Sarah Paulson a call maybe. It's good, but it could have been better. As a result, for me, this feels like a scene written for straight people. It's just a little bit too safe. What does arise in this relationship, though, is an actual look into Bradley's anger issues at last. It's not just a quirk anymore, it's a real problem. And she is not in control of it when she breaks Laura's vase. We see her emotional distress and vulnerability at the end of the episode. After trying to come out to Stella, she runs back to Laura, and Bradley, finally, becomes an interesting, three-dimensional, complex character that I can root for. Her anger is deeper and richer than it has seemed in the past episodes, and indeed the first season. I actually really enjoyed that Bradley didn't use her newly blossoming identity to get the moderating gig. She wouldn't have known how to handle it. She's not comfortable in that identity yet. And I think Laura should recognise that too. It did just leave me wondering though, how this show, The Morning Show, may or may not be using queerness to court attention by casting two straight white women in these roles. What do you think? Reese Witherspoon kissing a woman feels like a big deal. She has that similar Dolly Parton conservative crossover appeal. So I'm glad that the kiss is blossoming into a full journey. And I hope that the show moves forward respectfully and we can see more queer actors being queer on the show. I did try to find out if Deshaun Terry, Daniel, was queer, but the internet failed me this time. But we also haven't seen Daniel's partner this season, even though his role seems to have increased generally. In this episode, Daniel finally gets to step out of that single-track COVID storyline that he's been stuck in and becomes part of a three-pronged look at racial prejudice and racism in this episode. In last week's episode, Yanko referred to a groundhog as his spirit animal, and this is coming back to cause problems for him in this episode with a swell of backlash on social media. Daniel thinks he's being held back on TMS because he's black or gay, or because he's black and gay. Stella accuses Corey of bringing her on board to give the illusion of a powerful Asian woman at the studio. The most annoying of these storylines is Yanko's. I feel like this character is being used as the counter-argument again. In season 1, his and Claire's relationship was the counterpoint to Mitch's misdeeds. In this season, Yanko is possibly Republican, but also he's being purposefully ignorant. In season 1, he was so concerned that he might seem insensitive or perceived to be taking advantage of Claire, but in this episode, he cannot see the problem with saying spirit animal, and doesn't appear to read or be encouraged to read anything that might help him understand what offence has been caused. His lacklustre, on-air non-apology is not well received by Stella, who tells Mia that she can't go easy on her weatherman anymore. Mia is also engaged with Daniel in this episode, who, like everyone else, wants the moderator position. He takes his frustrations to Mia, who agrees with him. I enjoyed this allyship between the show's two main black characters. It feels believable, and I hope it's laying foundations for the show to reflect on the Black Lives Matter movement that TMS will likely cover during lockdown. Mia takes Daniel's concerns to Stella, who says that she thinks Daniel has reached his peak. She makes a fair point that your peak, being number 2 on the highest rating morning show in America, is not really an insult. She does say he doesn't have the it factor. When Mia gently reports this back to Daniel, I have to say that I had to listen to her comments 1 or 2 times and discuss it with another viewer, because I'm still not entirely clear I know what she's trying to say. I think that Stella would prefer you think she is blind to your charms than she's a bigot, which kind of implies that Mia thinks Stella is a bigot. Am I right? What do you think? Daniel says someone can be blind to his charms because they are a bigot, and then usurps the show to sing a song about America, ostensibly as part of Alex's welcome back, but really to show he has the it factor. He does not have the it factor. Not in this moment, at least. This is really well performed by Terry, because it's just bad enough to be bad, but just good enough to pass. In the post-show mini-documentary, they refer to this moment as being potentially a moment of minstrelsy, when someone performs their identity as a stereotype for the amusement of other people. I did not read that in this moment, but that may be because I'm white, I'm British, or I'm daft. What I was reading was Daniel's desperation to impress, and it backfired big time. We see Stella leaving Daniel's dressing room, and he looks very unhappy. Has he been fired? Finally, Stella's having her own confrontation with her senior manager too. On the telephone with Corey, they have a tense exchange about Alex being Corey's only choice for the moderator. Stella has shown more than once this season and this episode that she is not Alex Levy's #1 fan, but Corey is forcing her down this road. Why did you bring me on, she asks. What was the point if you weren't going to listen to anything I say? Just so you can parade an Asian woman around and get the social capital from pretending you cared. On a side note, is that the same social capital she wants by asking Yanko to care? Corey responds, talent is talent. Understanding that is an executive's only talent. Make this work. And furious, Stella snaps, got it. Everything done the same by a young Asian woman equals different. This is a really important conversation about not just employing diverse staff, but allowing them to live and work with integrity in those positions. Organisations can't just include diverse faces, bodies and lives, but then ignore those contributions. That is not inclusion. So while Stella makes the argument well The show then goes on to undermine that by making her do Corey's right thing. Stella convinces Alex to take the moderator position by telling her, insightfully, that she's avoiding the position of feminist-in-chief that the women of the country want her to take on. We know why she's avoiding that, but Stella does not. Alex relents and agrees to step up to the mantle that the public demands of her. Corey was right. Or was he? Perhaps we're being set up for Stella to be right in the long run, but in this episode I actually find this interesting, complex examination of racial prejudice and ignorance to be slightly undermined by most of the tensions being between various people of colour. A Latino man offending Native Americans, an Asian woman being accused of being bigoted towards black people, and in the end, that Asian woman does what the white man told her to do. This is the best episode in the season so far. The two main threads sit together well, but perhaps they could have been tied together even more closely by examining Daniel's identity of a black and gay man more closely. The gay part was only mentioned in the passing and could have sat as a parallel to Bradley's story somehow. It wasn't perfect, but there are strong elements and interesting conversations being brought up. I'm conflicted, and I don't mind that. Elsewhere in the episode, I should mention, because these episodes are doing huge labours and they will have ramifications on upcoming episodes. We saw Mitch filming with Paula and having a good time, but reacting very strongly to what seemed like platonic displays of affection. She later finds out that they might both have COVID and need to isolate, and she suggests they do it together. We also found out that Fred got Corey the job, not in fact Bradley, and that Corey got Fred that massive payout, which currently makes no sense, so I look forward to seeing how that was worked out. Lots of machinations in the works at UBA HQ that we'll need to explore again next week. Like, subscribe, join the conversation, and then stay tuned for the twist. And becomes part of a three-pronged look at Rachel